there are none, I guess we're done. Ken, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm used to being overlooked. Chip, USC's defense has given up some yards and points. What's your impression after watching them?
I think they're really good. They're really, really athletic. They played outstanding in their last game against Cal. And obviously, the defense switched from when Coach Kiffin took over and Pete left. So I think it's a matter of just getting used to the system that his dad Monty introduced to him. So the team that played against Cal is pretty good. I think extremely athletic. They've got guys everywhere that can run around and make plays.
Just a quick follow-up there. Cal's offense is much different than yours. Do you see that as a factor one way or another?
No, I mean it's about how hard they played and what their athleticism that showed up on tape. You see Harris picking off a screen pass and running down the sideline. For a 300-pound guy, pretty nimble, got great hands. I think that's the biggest challenge for us. You go through there too deep, and I keep hearing that USC is down, and they're too deep. Out of their 44 players, they have 12 five-star recruits and 26 four-star recruits. I don't know if there's anybody in the country that has that. So when I keep hearing that USC is down in talent, we have 0 five-star recruits in our top 44, and we have 11 four-star recruits. So
you don't necessarily believe in those rankings.
Those rankings, but AJ,
they're perfect.
They're perfect. Right there. They don't make mistakes. It's right. I mean, it's right there in black and white. So I mean, they got talent. They're the most talented team in the Pac-10. I'll tell you that.
Coach, in a general sense, what will we expect to see out of that USC defense on Saturday?
I think you're going to see a lot of really good athletes flying around. It'll be interesting to see how they defend us. Is their scheme going to change slightly? Obviously, we're a little bit different than Cal, but you got Devon Kennard, you got Gallipo, you got guys that can run around. The young corner Roby is making a lot of really good plays. He's a true freshman. TJ McDonald's a very, very good football player. Their front four with Jarrell Casey and Armand Arnstead. They got some players that can run around and make plays, so it's going to be a real challenge for us.
Rob?
Last week talking about the pistol that UCLA did, everything kind of went back to Nevada. From just a schematic sense, the Tampa 2 and what Monty Kiffin teaches, I mean, is it like another system that sort of all funnels back there, that what he taught kind of new and unique enough that it's kind of influenced a lot of people, obviously?
I think it has. When there's a big tree from that Tampa 2 system, from Coach Dungy to Lovie Smith to Monty to a lot of different guys that did that, but I think he's changed slightly. He's not all Tampa 2 now. I think because the college game is slightly different than the professional game. Obviously with the quarterback being able to run, so it's a little bit different. But I think that they're all kind of from the same school.
Rick, before as you guys were coming out of the tunnel last Thursday night, I thought you kids were just ready to play. They were bouncing off the walls. Are you worried about being overamped for this game? And if so, what will you do to temper that?
I'm not worried about being overamped, but I won't temper that. Our guys have the right mindset in every game we played so far this year. So.
Coach, what does USC do different this year under Coach Kiffin than they did necessarily last year?
Obviously their scheme's different on defense, because Monty's running the defense now and Pete's not there. So offensively they're a little bit different. They're a little bit more different than what USC has been in the past. They run some wildcat, with Mark Tyler playing quarterback and doing some different things and splitting Barkley out of receiver. They got a little bit more trick plays in their offense, I think, than what USC had run before. And I don't know if that's his influence from when he was with the Raiders or Tennessee, but I think they kind of tax you a little bit differently from an offensive standpoint too. But really, it still comes down to stopping Allen Bradford and those really, really good receivers.
John?
Chip, for the past couple weeks, they've been trying to bone up on your tempo, just trying to get up to speed. Are you playing faster than ever now? And what's the fastest drive that you guys have had this year?
Statistically, I know one of the fastest drives we had this year was with our twos when they went in against UCLA, and it was 5 plays, and it was Nate 3 times and Remenee twice for a touchdown. That seemed really fast to us, but we're playing at a pretty good clip now. I think it's because our players have a really good understanding of what we're trying to do. We just try to eliminate that time between plays, and then just go play. And if they ramped it up, I've read reports about that, but I really don't know what they're doing to ramp it up. So.
I think 14 seconds, real quick. It's in the release. So anyway.
Thanks, Dave. That was pretty quick, but yeah.
I know, unusual. Any other questions here?
Said last week, he's pretty good.
Okay, we're going to go to the phones. Please press *1 on your telephone keypad and ask a question.
Our first question is from the line of Darren Emerson from the Wall Street Journal.
Hi, Coach. Just to continue on the issue of this tempo, how fast you guys play. Has that always been a part of your philosophy going back to when you were a coordinator and even before you got to Oregon?
No, it's kind of evolved. I was here for 2 years as a coordinator in 07 and 08. We didn't play this fast. That's one of the things when I took over as a head coach. We changed our terminology so that we could play faster. But we're actually probably playing a little bit faster now than we did last year. But I think it's our players' second year in the system. And they've got a pretty good grasp of what we're trying to do. So it's evolved.
And just for the layperson, what is the purpose of it? I mean, is it just a matter of trying to wear out the defense or get them discombobulated?
It's just for television. I don't think people like people who huddle. So we're just trying to appease the crowd.
But just about, I mean, have you sort of seen over your time as a coach just that if you play at a higher pace, you can really wear down the opponent that way?
Yeah, I think during the course of this season, there's been games where we've worn our opponents down with our pace, but it really goes back to not what we're doing pace-wise, but can our players handle it by the tempo we practice at? So, it's just an extension of how we practice.
Any more questions, Angelia?
There are no further audio questions.
Okay, we'll come back to questions from here and to correct my earlier mistake, 5 seconds. The quickest drive, twice. Rob.
Out of curiosity, I mean, is the tempo and the spread option kind of married? I mean, if your personnel was best suited to play 3 tight ends and a fullback, could you still use your tempo the same way?
Yeah, I don't think it's married to the system that you run. I think you can play up tempo no matter what. I mean, you watch Peyton Manning. They're not running any option, but they play as fast in the NFL in terms of him being able to get their plays in and the speed that they want to play at. So it's not married to a system.
Was that something that influenced you watching them?
No, it's just I think it fits with these guys, with our guys right now in this group, and they understand the benefits of getting lined up fast and getting plays on. The byproduct is as the play caller, you can call a lot of really bad plays, and people forget about them real quickly because we're on to the next one.
AJ?
Coach, your play call signs on last game seem to kind of distract the announcers a little bit. What's going on with your signs? Seems like they've changed some.
They have. They're the same signs. They've been that way for a while, so I didn't know that it distracted. There's a system to it, and there are actually plays on there, and each one's a package, and it depends on if we go to the board or don't go to the board. It's just another way to play fast. So, the analogy I can give you is if you go to McDonald's and order number 2, that's all you have to say, and you get a quarter pounder and a drink and fries. And you just say number 2. So if we send them to the board, one picture can mean the formation, the play, and the snap count. That's all it is. Just another way to play faster. So.
Ken, do you have a preference between fight on or conquest? If so, what?
No, it's just when we play Tennessee, if there's a song that's a prevalent song that you're going to hear in the opposing stadium, we're just trying to get our players familiar with it. So we played Rocky Top at the Tennessee game, and if we were to play Michigan, we'd be playing Hail to the Victors. So it's just something when you're going to an opposing stadium so that your players are prepared to hear that. So.
But you don't have a personal favorite between the two songs?
Between those two, no. Our goal is hopefully we don't hear them very much, but they've got a big tradition of playing them for a lot. So.
Anywhere in particular you got those ideas for the ESPN guys' signs?
It's just different names. So, I can't tell you exactly what they stand for, but there's reasons behind everything we're doing. So that may tell us that it's one package or another package. So it's really, that's how it's all tied in together.
Steve?
Coach, from your experience, what does them having a bye in those extra days, how much of an advantage does that give them?
And I think a lot of people make out of buys. I saw a stat the other day. I think the Pac-10's 500 after buys. So, it really depends. And when you ask a coach, if you win after a bye, the bye's the greatest thing in the world. And if you lose after a bye, we lost our momentum and we shouldn't have had the bye. So, all it is a lot of times, I think it's different too. Most coaches, because of our schedule, use the bye to go out recruiting. So, we practice twice before the UCLA game, but we really had a skeleton crew to practice. It was really myself and the 2 GAs, because everybody else was here. I think Health was here one day and Wood was here the other day, but everybody else was on the road. So, you know, I think the bye is more of most schools kind of you're working on your fundamentals and you're getting yourself healthy, and schools are recruiting. So, you know, if they win on Saturday, then the bye was a big reason, and if they don't win, then, you know, the bye kind of slowed down their momentum that they had coming from the Cal games.
Tom? So I wanted to ask you about the new Pac-12 alignment, your thoughts on that in the future about not getting the trip to LA every year. Is that a big deal, or with our?
I really, you know, it's a good question, Tom. I have no idea, because it never happened before, and, you know, I wasn't asked, so whatever they tell us to do, we do. You know,
Had you been asked?
What's that?
Had you been asked, what would your?
I don't know. I haven't been here long enough to tell you that if it works or not works. You know, our goal hopefully is that everybody says they want to play in Eugene, Oregon every year. So we take care of it ourselves. But I don't really know. I think people try to speculate and make a big deal out of the whole thing, and I don't know what the right answer is. So and I don't have enough time to kind of factor that in or not factor that in. So.
Angelia, we'll go back to the phones again to see if there are any more questions.
There's no audio questions.
Ken?
You've mentioned a couple times that you thought Matt Barkley was playing really well, a good all-around quarterback. Anything in particular about his game that makes him stand out from other quarterbacks?
You know, I noticed it when he got here. You know, for a true freshman to play the way he played in Johnson Stadium, didn't get rattled. He's got a lot of confidence. He certainly has some weapons outside now, Ronald Johnson and Robert Woods to throw the ball to. But I think he's thrown the ball a lot better. He's a little bit more accurate this year. His completion percentage is up. He hasn't thrown as many interceptions as he did a year ago. I think he was 18 and 14 last year. TDs to interceptions. He's 20 and 4 right now, which I think I saw projects to like 37 and 7, which is a phenomenal year. I think he's got a really good grasp. He seems like he's a little bit more mature. I met Matt a few times. He's a great kid, you know, and he's got a lot of confidence, and he's a big time competitor. And I know he's going to be fired up for this one, but he's the challenge, you know, really trying to slow them down offensively. It starts with trying to slow their quarterback down.